Okay. This is your soul brother Talib. Um, First of all, I like to give shout outs and peace to my family from Reality Temple Ministries, aka Operation Exodus Mississippi, uh, Angel Snup 7, and Sister Noble Levine, and the rest of the gang. And furthermore, moving along, I like to talk about, a critical situation, you know, that plagues the black community. And it's been plaguing the black community for a long time, of course. And, you know, we got a former U.S. vice president who is running as a top Democrat nominee or presumptive nominee for the president of the United States, who was part of orchestrating that Crime Reform Act bill in the early 1990s that still affected so many lives and families throughout the years in this country. And it still has that same impact right now on a lot of black and brown families, especially those of us who are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America. And I like to talk about, the fact, first of all, that looking at the less of the two evils, of course, though, I would rather see him get elected than Donald Trump get reelected. I just wanted to throw that in there real quick, but that still, don't dispel his record as what he did that destroyed so many people's lives because of this mass incarceration situation throughout America. And I just, hope that even if he does get elected, that, blacks, put pressure on him, you know, and those that represent black communities or black districts throughout the country in Washington put pressure on him, you know, to let it be known that that's not forgotten, that's all I'm saying. And that, somehow some change got to come, with that. But I must say though that because I'm for any change, definitely, especially when it comes to dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America, but at the end game result, as that go, as the end game result goes, if we could get this Mississippi campaign off the ground, that'd even be better, because those of us that are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America will have a bigger platform behind us and a bigger base behind us, which will be a state backing us. And it will be nothing like that, unlike anything else ever before that has gave us leverage in our struggle as a people in this country for over the past 400 years. But, I just want to just say too that as far as you know, this incarceration situation, you know, I want to point out some things. I'm not a fan, okay, of incarceration, and I'm not a fan because I've been there and done that, okay, and I'm not a fan of mass incarceration, of course, especially when it's indiscriminately affecting black and brown people in this country. And but I will say this though, that those who are incarcerated, there are a sector of those who are incarcerated that I must just be honest with you, that need to just stay in there. They need to just stay incarcerated because of their participation in bringing havoc and destruction upon the communities that they left behind. And the fact that they left behind children, well, as grandchildren, even great grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? That's continuing on, what they left behind in what people call the black community. Okay. And I have to say that I'm not finna sit up here and excuse that. There's been a lot of damage done due to the heroin drug epidemic, which was prior to the crack cocaine epidemic, and due to the crack cocaine epidemic itself. Okay, there was a lot of damage, and people must be mindful of that when you listen to these anti-incarceration activists. And like I said, on a lot of things, I agree with them. When it comes to the racial disparity in incarceration and, and in the so-called criminal justice system of this country, I get that. I've seen it. I've breathed it. I've lived through it. I know about that. Okay. But like I said, that still don't excuse the fact that you have a lot of black people that share the responsibility and how the crack epidemic destroyed our community. Like you'll get people who will sit up here and say that well, the white man put the drugs in our community, but see, the white man ain't put no pistol to your head and make you pick it up either, did he? You see? He did not did nobody force you to pick up that dope sack just because you had needs far as survival mechanisms is concerned, because you had to feed yourself or your family or your babies or whatever, No one forced even the drug addicts in our communities to, pick up that dope and start abusing it, which led to even more additional crime in our communities, okay? So I'm not finna sit up here and co-sign the white man, and only the white man is responsible for drugs being in the so-called black neighborhoods throughout America. No, I'm not finna sit up there and just simply co-sign that. We played a big part in that. Okay. We played a big part in the fact that, a lot of our black sisters from the 60s and 70s generations, even up to today was and still is being prostituted by soul brothers, okay? And drugs also permeates in the mixture with that situation, okay? And I must say, it's all destructive at the end of the day. And there, like I say, many lives that has been destroyed behind that, you know? And when we want to sit up here, you know, and blame other people and not look at ourselves in the way that we participated in this, you know, that there will, you know, as someone would say, grind my gears, okay? Because you have people like the infamous highway freeway Ricky Ross, you know, who participated in the distribution and wholesale of crack cocaine throughout the whole entire United States with the help of those in government. Okay. And then he gets out of prison after doing a few years, and he's still living well, you know, family taken care of. He don't seem to have no worries, even though there were others like him in his position who are still languishing in federal and state prisons throughout this country. Okay. But he get out and he's being praised like he's some kind of God. In fact, even by organizations like the Nation of Islam, which is supposed to be one of the biggest major black organizations here in this country, okay? But they cater to people like him, support him, praise him, you know? And speaking of organizations, the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was considered as the first black Islamic sect in America prior to the Nation of Islam, you know, has a lot of history and presence as far as being involved with the drug trade, okay, in the black community, as they say. And many of them, to this day, there are those among them who get praise and support by major, respectable organizations, as they would say, like the NAACP, by being honored and praised with awards and all this kind of stuff when they haven't done nothing but further help destroy their community with drugs. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. And those of you that's in the Moorish Science Temple of America, you know I'm telling the truth. And hey, it is what it is. You know, I did time around a lot of you. I know where you, how you, roll, and, you know what I'm saying? And I know where most of you, come from, you know? So, you know, I'm not a Johnny come lately when it comes to these organizations, okay? I was a part of one of them, you know, that was also wrapped up into crime. But you said it was talking about you was for black liberation, black solidarity, and all that other crap, okay? But neither here nor less, I mean, you know, it seems like those who are really criminals in our communities get honored and get praise than the people in our community who do try to do the right thing, as they say. Even if they just simply are law abiding members of the community, everyday working people, you know, trying to raise a family the best way they can without all the drama and stuff, they don't even get praise like these criminals do. And I'm calling it out exactly for what it is. They are criminals, and it's like I mean, movies, books even get written about these people, whether it be a Donald Goins, whether it be a Iceberg Slim, you know, Frank Lucas, Bumpy Johnson, you know what I'm saying? And the list go on. I mean, these people get all kind of praises, but somebody that's ever tried to do the right thing in our community, even the heroes that stood up for our elders, even put their lives on the line just to protect our elders, which is something the black community don't do. Okay? They don't get no kind of praise like that. And see, this is the thing. And you know what? I have to be honest. Them criminals and corruptors of our community even get more praise these days than people like a Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X would. Although they're dead and gone. But, I mean, that's a fact. And it's sad. That we don't have no integrity whatsoever as a black community. That we have to give these people respect, praise, and regard for destroying a whole entire generation of our communities. Look at our grandchildren. Look at our grandnephew and nieces. Then you wonder why they ain't got no respect for the older generations in our communities. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And then you want to complain and mope. And of course, at times I get to doing the same thing when I get to a point where I have to, backtrack on some of that. Because I ain't perfect either, okay? And I never claimed to be, okay? But like I said, however, is that, we need to understand that, with all this praising these criminals and corruptors in the black community and people like L. Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, who ain't doing nothing but, pimping the struggle, as they say, or race hustling, you even would give them people more praises than the true freedom fighters we ever knew about in the history of our people in this country. You even give them more praises. And that's a darn shame. It really is. And I have to say that this is one of the reasons why I don't belong to no organization, why I choose not to belong to no organization. And this is also why I no longer participate in any of the so-called activities of any of these organizations, because I know what they're about. Like I said, I've been a part of one, or around the movement, as they say, and I know what they're about. So like I said, at the end of the day, I have no other recourse but to keep myself separated from that. And I mean, at the end of the day, also too, I really feel like, at this point in time, we blame ourselves. I mean, we blame others. Like I said, going back to the mass incarceration thing, why don't we shed some of this blame on ourselves? You know, like when it come to blaming others for even other things, and we don't shed no blame on ourselves. You see? Yeah, many of you say, well, it's not about blaming, we must move on. No, we need to let reality kick in and understand that we share responsibility in our own crap that's happening to us. Okay, that's just the reality. And if we can't learn from that, then apparently we'll never get no farther than where we are as a group of people on that note. Okay. And also too, I must say that at the end of the day as well, that we have no qualms when it comes to praising corruption and self-tyranny in our own communities. We even praise those who snatch pocketbooks from our elderly, well as even protect them, And if somebody call the police on them, they snitching, right? See, this is another thing too I want to say about this so-called criminal element thing going on. People, especially in this generation, got that word snitching twisted. And I remember reading a magazine article years ago when they was interviewing the old gangster from back when I was even a child, And they interviewed him straight from prison. And he said one thing that still resonates with me to this day, that if you out there doing dirt in the streets and you ratting on other people, then that's snitching. Okay? But if you a law-abiding member of the community, just minding your business, working every day, and just trying to live and let live, but you have no other recourse when it comes to a situation but to call the police, then rightfully so, you as a law-abiding citizen have that right then to call the police, okay? And this came from a OG, okay? And I'm not saying that as praise, but I'm just telling you where it came from, okay? And because somebody snitched on him is why he doing life in prison, okay? So like I said before, you know, snitching is not just the word itself. Snitching cannot be defined in just any type of way. You got to deal with the circumstances that comes with it, and then you got to look at the circumstances that don't come with it. Okay? And like I said before, this younger generation out here today, and even those who are in their 30s and 40s and even 50s, have gotten to the point, I guess, where they even got that word snitching twisted. Okay? And so, moving along, I must also say too that it's like a lot of people, you know, even in general, regardless of the skin color, and even if you dark skin, yes, even if you dark skin, my brother, my soul brother and sister, okay, even if you dark skin, all right, if you commit that crime, especially if it's a hideous crime where you've taken the lives of others in which is one way to destroy other people's lives and families' lives, then you deserve to sit your ass in there and rot until you die off in the cell, okay? If they don't execute you on death row, okay? You know? And I'm just keeping it purely simple as that. You know? I just don't, you know, I'm not going to sit up here and co-sign that. Now, there are those who are incarcerated who shouldn't be in there either because they were convicted on some trumped up or so-called circumstantial evidence that didn't have no, sufficient proof to show that they committed a crime, so they just vanished away in prison for nothing. Yeah, I know that's a reality in the so-called criminal justice system in America. I get that, okay? I'm not, naive to that fact either, okay? So, but however, I must also say, too, that, the situation is that there are a lot of people also that deserve to be incarcerated, wherever they are being incarcerated. There are a lot of people that deserve it. I mean, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it in no kind of way, shape, or form by saying that. They need to be just right where they at. Especially, like I say, those that then rape people, raped infants, babies, children, molestation, uh, which goes on in the black community too, and not just Caucasian communities. And I'm speaking directly to those of you in the pro-black conscious community that promote that narrative, that happened more with Caucasian people. Well, we've been seeing quite a bit of that going on in the black community, as you want to say, as well. Okay. And also too, I want to say that those who have robbed elderly people, beat them, killed them, even raped elderly people deserve to be incarcerated. And and like I say, people who have done other malicious, hideous crimes that have affected lives in communities forever into infinity need to just be right where they at. Okay? I mean, hey, really, to be truthful, with those people, if it was up to me, I wouldn't allow no state or federal aid to be spent on them. I would rather them be dead, because they're better off dead. Okay? But because we're in America, under the white man system, hey, you're really pampering them by feeding them 3 times a day, making sure they got somewhere to lay their head while they locked up, You're really pampering them. A lot of them idiots need to be dead, flat out. Just flat out in the ground. Point blank, period. I mean, because like I say, when you turn around in which I'm particularly speaking about the black community, you look at the desecration of our community, it has a lot to do with that crime. It has a lot to do with that crime. Okay. And, when me and brother Angel Snup Snup 7 proposed the Mississippi campaign, um, you know, uh, things in that ideal has potentially a way of deterring them type of situations. If people will listen and join along with this ideal of the Mississippi campaign. But because it keep falling on deaf ears, then I don't know what to say in regards to that. But one thing I could say is this, is that the reality as it stands right now is that, crime in our community has devastated us. And don't sit up and say because we ain't got jobs. We didn't create you a job. Haven't you heard that before? And I ain't talking about picking up no dope sack either, or picking up no pistol going to rob somebody. Be creative. That's our problem. We supposed to have all this potential greatness and talent as a people, as some would say. But we don't know how to be creative to get ourselves out of the situation that we find ourselves in, especially when it comes to poverty. So the only thing we know how to do is resort to committing crimes. Okay? That's the only thing we know and understand. And don't sit up and say, once again, and I'm going to say this, don't sit up and say, well, every other race do it. We're not them people, okay? We've been in almost 500 years of slave bondage. We are not them other people, okay? So I'm not trying to hear that. We need to learn how to be creative, especially knowing that we all we got. It ain't nobody gonna come to our aid. Ain't no God gonna come nowhere way up from so-called sky heaven to do it. We got to do it our damn selves. And that's just the bottom line to that. So like I said before, we really need to wake up. We really need to wake the heck up. And when I look at our babies, and I'm talking about even in hypothetically speaking, even our younger adults, like the ones in their teens, 20s, and up to their 30s. And I got people that young, even in my family, of course, like many of you do. And I have to say, man, we share faultly a responsibility in the way that they are. We can't really talk about them, although we do, and I have to include myself in that. Like I said, once again, I'm not perfect, but we do talk about them, and we try to make it seem like they are the ones that's responsible for the way our so-called communities is. But no, that's not true. We share a responsibility in it. Like I said, you still got people even old as 60 and 70 some years old, still running around throwing up gang signs. Supposed to be gangsters, pimps, yeah. Old as ancient, supposedly, and even encourage our younger generation to do the negative stuff that they do. One time I remember when I was incarcerated myself at one period of time in my life, at one of the periods of times in my life, and I heard another fellow inmate who was black say that, uh, you know, his son was selling dope and that, hey, all he trying to do is survive. What kind of stuff is that for a father to say about their own child? Wouldn't they want their own child to have something better out of life than to be a drug dealer or end up incarcerated like him or them? That all? You know what I'm saying? What kind of craziness is that? And see, this is the type of craziness we got going on in the black community. I mean, like Public Enemy once say, how low can you go? We have went that low. We have really went that low. Yes, we're actually in the stage of savagery. As someone else would basically say, we are in the age of savagery. And the same ones that we talk about that, came up out of the caves of Europe on all fours. Well, while they ruling and running everything and kicking us in the ass, we're no different from them when it comes to savagery. Okay? And like I said before, we need to understand and realize that we are in a situation that we have gone just that low. And like I said before, we have no no qualms. We have no compassion. We have no reasoning, no rationality about over half the stuff that we do to each other and against each other. It's just like, we've just totally lost it. So as the same beat goes, like someone would say, we might as well be exterminated then. And to be honest, I wouldn't even want to be alive to be around to see it. I don't want to even be around, period, to see it. Matter of fact, I mean, it's just a sad, sad state of affairs with black people. And, hey, I'm going to keep on keeping it real. Whether I go into sabbatical or not, because I mentioned in my other video that I was thinking about going into complete sabbatical. But, hey, we keeps it real from this platform of Reality Temple, aka Exodus, Mississippi. We keeps it real from this platform. And that's why, we always push reality to the core like we supposed to. And that's what's going to keep being done. Hopefully until it resonates in your head where you are at as a people, or you'll find out definitely, unfortunately for those of you, when it's too late, when you can't do nothing about it then, But like I said, it's really that bad where, we need to just, take a look at what's going on. You know, I mean, you got our own elderly people scared to death of us. Let alone our elderly, you got even younger people among us from younger generations that's scared to death of us, that look like us but are scared to death of us because of the savagery we've come to being a part of. And many of you don't think nothing is wrong with that. And that's really a problem when you don't think nothing is wrong with that, you know? And and then you wonder why, since you want to always blame the damn white man, this is wonder why the Peckerwood treat you like he do. Why the racists treat you and handle you like they do. Because you play yourself like you do. And the way you play yourself is the way they're going to keep playing you. And that's just as simple as that. You know, you're going to keep getting gunned down by these racist Peckerwoods. You're going to keep getting lynched by these racist Peckerwoods. And on that note, because this is no longer 1865 and this is 2020, we ain't got nobody else but ourselves to blame behind that. You know, but like I said, you know, you can keep taking reality for a joke all you want to, you know, and reality is going to keep biting you in the ass. You know, and it's just that simple, you know, and hey, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be your daddy. I'm not your leader. I'm not your prophet or none of that. I'm just trying to just throw advice at you like, hey, look, just think about what you're doing, you know, just look at yourselves. That's all I'm saying, you know. And, you know, with this thing as far as mass incarceration, which I started speaking on in this video about, that comes definitely along with the package. You know, because when I was incarcerated, all I used to hear Negroes say, the white man this, the white man that. That's why I'm in here. No, you in here, you in there because you picked up a pistol and one of them tried to rob, more than likely somebody that looked like you. 90% chances, you know, or you went and picked up a dope sack and decided to go sell crack to your own people, you know, or prostitute your own sisters and brothers for whatever reasons, you know, or kill your own people for whatever reasons, you know. That's why you're locked up, you know. And most of the time, it's very little time. It was very little times I seen someone blame themselves for their own predicament of being incarcerated. Very few, you know, and it's sad that it's only a few people that's, as you would say, awoke to reality of some things that will come to terms that look, okay, it's my damn fault for a change, you know? And then I need to do something to correct it. But it's not simple like that with a lot of so-called Negroes here in America, because we're conditioned the way that we are and conditioned to think the way that we think, you know? And so, like I said before, I mean, we, you know, don't care, you know, about no one else. We don't even care about ourselves, let alone anyone else. We just act off of emotions, you frivolous feelings without thinking, even before we say something, as well as do something. And that's one reason why it's so many of us incarcerated. Okay. That's why so many black people, I put it that way, incarcerated. And that's just the reality of it, because you was trying to prove, that you was tough for trying to impress some woman on the streets, you know, that went to sleep with another nigga after you got locked up. I mean, and I usually don't use that word, but I'm just throwing something out there to give you something to think about, or that, you was out there trying to prove who gang set was better than the other. I mean, whatever reason it was, is because of your own reckless decisions is why you chose to do what you did and what got you to the point of where you at now or where you may have been, as far as incarceration go, okay? And that's just the bottom line to that, all right? So stop playing, We want to blame everything else and everybody else but our own damn selves. And that's part of our problem, And that's the reason why we don't have, no stability or no accountability, even among us as a people in this country. So that's why we keep savagery going down the path that we're going, And like I said before, we need to just understand and realize that for what it is, and understand and recognize that we got ourselves in a situation that, hey, this is a centuries long situation that comes along with everything that's happened to us in our close to 500-year bondage, and, the time is to, be responsible and, pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and, do something else different that will work to better our condition all together as a people for the whole of us all, and not just for certain people, not just for certain select groups of people, and push the other ones back because they homosexuals or because they are race swirlers, as you want to call it, and all this other crap, But like I said, we need to understand that, we either need to do something and stop waiting to improve our condition for the better for once and for all, which may be too late, or just die. Like someone would say, die nigga, die nigga. Now, I see myself using that word again. I apologize, family. But hey, yeah, it is what it is. And like I said, we got to wake up and realize what type of situation that we seriously find ourselves in. And even when this COVID-19 thing blow over, of course, ain't nothing gonna change until we change it ourselves. Because, you got these pro-blacks in social media screaming all this genocidal stuff or conspiracy theory stuff, like even someone in my family, even though I still love them to death, but hey, I just can't agree with the conspiracy aspect of how he look at this COVID-19 thing, like many of you out there in social media land that look at this COVID-19 thing like you do, and the theorist manner, you know. But like I said, hey, we got to wake up and just come home to reality. And you know, like I said before, we got to just take a look, take a moment, pause back and just think why we are where we are. And not just know it, but be willing to do something about it to change it. Because this platform I speak on is about not just reality, but exact change. And I ain't talking about halfway change either, but total change. That would, bring us up out of our bondage situation altogether for once and for all, you know. And like I said before, at this point, I must also say too that I know that many of you don't like to hear the truth, but hey, you got to accept it. Wherever you find yourself at, either you gonna accept it now or you gonna accept it later when you're forced to accept it. Just like when our people had to learn how to live and stick together during the old Jim Crow days prior to the civil rights movement because they were forced to. Why I got to take something to force black people to get it together? I mean, really, is this all what we want to be known as far as being a group of people? Is this what we want to always be known as in history? For us finally waking up when somebody put a 12-foot-inch boot in our behind? Is this what we all want? Is this all we want to be known for? As what you call greatness? Come on. Snap up out of it. Wake up. Later. Peace.